The 1910 Paris flood.
The Paris flood of 1910 is described by some as the flood of the century. After months of high rainfall, the water from the river Seine flooded Paris through tunnels, sewers, and drains.
Winter floods were regular in Paris. On January 21st, the waters began to rise more than usual. On January 28, 1910, the water reached a maximum height of 28.28 feet, or 8.62 meters, above normal level. The river rose above the banks in towns east and west of Paris and directly flooded the surrounding terrain.
In an article written by Natalina Eggert, she states, "Soon the city looked more like Venice than Paris."
The Seine has flooded multiple times, but this was the largest one in all of Paris history. The modern facilities did increase the city's vulnerability by the flood in 1910. Cities have found that flooding in Paris is twice as likely due to climate change from man-made emissions.
As for societal impacts, thousands of Parisians had to evacuate their homes. Refugees stayed in churches, schools, and government buildings as makeshift shelters. Paris's basic infrastructure was destroyed, including 20,000 buildings. Electricity failed, and 5 people were killed.
Residents had to travel by boat or across wooden walkways that were either made by government engineers or crafted themselves. In total, it is estimated that there was $1.5 billion in damages, accounting for inflation. As with any flood, crops in the area died.
The police and armed forces contributed to minimizing the effects of the flood, and workmen attempted to keep the river back by quickly making levees.
Salvation operations began being executed after the flood in order to salvage whatever important belongings people could. Any sign of flooding leads to possessions and valuables being brought to a higher, safer location. For example, art museums monitor water levels and move artwork to higher floors or to different sites to prevent precious art from being damaged.
After 35 days, the water was gone completely. As the river went back down, many returned to their homes. Urban landscape was quickly rebuilt, and many traces of the flood quickly disappeared. As a result of this flood, large reservoirs had been created upstream that could drain water out of the river's channel. This allows the water level to be lowered.